Okay, so Barack Obama won Wisconsin and Hawaii, which brings his pledged delegate lead up over 150. But that's only if you don't count Florida and Michigan. If you do, then Hillary gets a boost of 111 delegates. So why aren't they being counted? I'm going to tell you all about it. The first thing that you need to know about Florida and Michigan is that they are not similar. When the media lump them together, it's because they are lazy, and they think you're not smart enough to understand the difference, and it is a big difference. It all started last year when the Democratic Party told most of the states that the earliest they could have a primary was February 5th. Florida and Michigan both said, screw that, we're doing it in January. The party said, if you do, then it's not going to count. We're only going to count votes after February 5th. Florida and Michigan were all, whatever, we're doing it. And then the candidates stepped in and they said, we're siding with the National Democratic Party and we're not going to campaign in your states if you break those rules. And these two states again said, we don't care, we're doing it. And they did. End of story, not even close. Now is where the two states start getting very different. For whatever reason, in Michigan only, the candidates started removing their names from the ballot. John Edwards got off, Barack Obama got off, Bill Richardson got off, Hillary Clinton stayed on. And people started saying, Hillary, if you're against it, why don't you get off the Michigan ballot just like everybody else, and then they will have to cooperate. Hillary's response was, it's not going to matter anyway, so I don't have to do anything. It won't count, so stop asking me about Michigan. Then the elections happen. In Florida, everybody's on the ballot and people come out to vote and Hillary wins. Barack comes in second. Hillary gets 38 more delegates. Florida broke the rules, but at the end of the day, they still held a free and fair election that reflects the will of Democrats in Florida. So Florida says to the Democratic Party, this election was legitimate, and we're sending our delegates to the convention, and we expect you to count them. And now the DNC is trying to figure out what to do. Some people want Florida to hold another election. I think that's fine. Hold another if you can talk them into it. But if they refuse, and if they insist on you recognizing the January primary, I say recognize it and count the delegates from Florida. Why let them get away with it? Well, because the most important thing of all is producing a result that reflects the will of the people. And if the only election you have is one that happened on the wrong day, that's unfortunate. But it was a fair election, and the greater injustice would be to silence an entire state's innocent voters just because their legislature acted like jerks. Count Florida. Michigan is completely different. It was impossible to vote for Barack Obama, or John Edwards, or Bill Richardson. Even the write-ins were ignored. It was not a free and fair election. It did not produce a result that reflects the will of the people. It was, let's vote for Hillary Day. So now the Michigan Democrats want to send 73 delegates to the convention for Hillary, and 0 for Obama. That's what they're fighting over. And who is fighting to have Michigan counted? Well, remember who said, it doesn't matter if my name's on the ballot because it's not going to count anyway? Yeah, that woman won 73-0, and Hillary Clinton is now fighting for Michigan to count. And Michigan is sending their delegates, just like Florida, and expecting them to be counted. Michigan was not like Florida. Florida had an election. Michigan produced an insult to Michiganders and the Democratic Party and to the eternal beneficent spirit of democracy. It was the definition of a rigged election, the definition of an illegitimate winner. And these two states are grouped together by the media. In the same breath, they will say Michigan and Florida, Florida and Michigan. Michigan's delegates couldn't shine the shoes of Florida's delegates. They are the opposite of democracy. Now, among people who understand this, there is one pernicious objection. Some conciliatory people have said that a portion of the Michigan delegates should simply be handed to Obama. There are 55 other delegates from Michigan in support of nobody, and that is because nobody was on the ballot. There was a line that said uncommitted, and uncommitted won 55 delegates to Clinton's 73. And now some people are saying, well, just give those to him. Friends, the idea that you can just switch out one thing for another and tell all the John Edwards supporters and all the Bill Richardson supporters and all the people who stayed home, oh yeah, uncommitted, well that equals Barack Obama. That doesn't make it less rigged. That just makes it a more complicated rigged election. So let Florida in. Let them count. But if the Michigan Idiot Brigade shows up at the convention, you padlock those doors. They are vampires. Their very existence is poison to everything we stand for. Happy President's Day!